was the manner in which we used to do the sales. So the traditional sales process would have been that, okay, you arrive in the room, you introduce yourself in 1-2 lines, you open a deck and then you run by the deck, right? I didn't know that, because in a demo from someone to know that, okay, this is the actual protocol. So I used to speak about myself, speak about the product at 100 feet level, jump into the demo that, okay, hey, this is literally the product. आप अपना पैन नंबर बताइए, सी आई कैन वैलिडेट, ड्राइविंग लाइसेंस एंड सो। ये बंदा अच्छा है, मेरा 1 घंटे में इसने कोई टाइम वेस्ट नहीं किया, आया, प्रोडक्ट दिखाया, प्राइस भी बता दिया, एंड आई यूज्ड टू हैंडशेक एंड गेट आउट बिकॉज आई यूज्ड टू आस्क द पर्सन दैट, ओके, नाउ टेल मी, आर यू गोइंग टू टेक दिस प्रोडक्ट और नो? So then I'll accordingly waste my time on you, right? So that worked.
Waste or invest.
So waste or that fact that, okay, there is no nonsense. We are very flexible. We used to give top-notch service to our customers. You know, I have only दूसरा number होगा तो मैं पहला number बंद कर दूंगा, तो एक ही number रखा. So that is the genesis or the kind of thought process through which we built up.
And I believe that as an entrepreneur, one has to be seamless. You know, I mean, you keep knocking the door, you know, and knocking it again and again and again. Someday, someone will open the door, right? So, so Gaurav, but when you kind of Karza, and Karza means debt, you know, and 50, you know, connotations come into your mind when you know, hear the word Karza. You know, it looks like a bird.
There is a host of borrowers and a host of individuals, HNIs, etc., who want to lend to them. At that time in India, this wasn't as a concept existing. And just like he was solving for, Apurva solves for, you know, the underreached or basically absolutely, you know, desperate. Karz buri baat nahi hai. And encourage people to take loans from our platform.
Fantastic. So, you know, switching the sides, Apurva, you know, you guys have been able to build one of the largest EWA, you know, startup in the, I suppose, in the world. You know, soon you are also getting profitable also, right? I mean, how do you know, kind of manage? Second, you're also ensuring that, you know, you're breaking even, you know. How do you balance this, you know, because many times when, you know, and so maybe if you can share some, you know, insights with our, you know,
thought. So there is no perfect way of creating companies. Ours is a particular school of, we come from all the learnings that we have had in the past. We had a particular view that our parents have given us a good platform that we operate out of. They have built a stable family on top of it. The entire idea was, can we build big things on top of it? Can we build something that our parents would be proud of and to operate with certain philosophies? You can't just indiscriminately chase growth. You have to take a look at, okay, what body of our funding? The goal has been that our business should be sustaining itself rather than constantly deploying.
Came with a very large check, you know, investment check, you know. We all discussed, and probably you guys said that, you know, we don't want, you know, like in Hyderabad we say nakko money, no more money.
It's a responsibility. So the choice is not that whether you want all that money or not. I mean, if but I think it comes with a lot of responsibility and promises that you're making to the other person. And it's an amazing validation that massive entities are willing to take a bet on you, and then they have seen the kind of success that you have created, and the team has come to undertake that responsibility. We feel like with the existing investors, with the current capital that we have, we will be able to make...
Respect for capital and judicious use of capital, I think, are the two important aspects, you know, which every entrepreneur should probably learn. And, you know, we have seen, you know, people chasing only valuations and, you know, the funding rounds. But here comes, you know, the story where, you know, people are conscious about, you know, valuing each pie of the capital you raise from the investors, right? So very well said, Apurva. Thank you. Turning tables, you know, Gaurav, you know, I had the privilege to kind of, you know, work with you at very early stage, you know, in your journey. And I still remember those days, and the kind of passion you and kind of Omkar you brought on the table. And I remember one conversation where I think both of you guys were actually putting your house on mortgage and taking a loan, right, to invest into your startup rather than going to investors and ask for money. And that point in time in those conversations, it clicked me that, hey, here is the founder who is willing to put everything on the stake, for his startup, right? And so itna commitment, itna convince, and that early stage,
Fair. So I think it'll be the third time I'll say this, but naivety. But to be very honest, I think, see, it's not that we didn't go out to raise money. We tried, but we failed miserably. We now 2 chartered accountants, starting a tech company with no lending experience in lending, no banking connect, selling B2B software, etc., etc. It's a recipe for disaster, right? If I had to put in money in bunch of guys who are trying to sell me something like this, obviously I wouldn't. So, and that's what happened with most early stage VCs, right? So we said that okay, so यहाँ से नहीं गल रही है, you try the second best option. So we were utterly shameless, right? There was no stop word or there was no give up word in the dictionary. So initially we said that, okay, if other people are not trusting us, let's just take loans and put in. So my dad had borrowed from some client, Omkar, mortgaged his house to basically run his house and fund the company for the initial MVP. Once we built the MVP, still people are not ready to put in money. We were like, यार अभी तो बना भी दिया है, prove भी कर रहे हैं कि आ रहे हैं लोग. He said, ठीक है. So then we went to angel route, right? So angel also, we raised just 2.5 crores, which I know it's a big amount for us, at least it was definitely. Small amount when you compare it here. But it was, for that we diluted 33% and we had to go, we raised it from 21 angels. Okay, and 21 is actual count is far, far greater. So for a good 1 year, I would say that I was just begging in a suit, and I think it was just the fact that we were not ready to give up, right? As your literally wo hua. So I think to a certain extent, yes, naivety, etc. is appreciable, but it's not. I will think 100 times. I'll do my research. I'll do TAM understanding. Workshop जो अपने को पता है, right? That what is the right formula to at least, let's say, build a company or build a business, build a dhanda. While our competition is raising 10 million, 15 million, right? So I think that also fueled the fire. Smaller business.
Fantastic. And let me do some little bit of marketing for kind of early days. How you could define those days at ICICI Lab.
So I think so we formally incorporated in 15, and I think in 16 we gave 3 things, right? One is validation. That a bank such as ICICI Bank is willing to give us. Second thing was the access, and access not just to capital or basically chance of capital also. It was to the teams within ICICI who could come wanted from our customers. And then third obviously would be the another new ideas that, okay, this is what you're doing, great, तुम ये भी कर सकते हो क्या? Can you also solve this for us? So came from client feedbacks, and obviously the cornerstone or the foundation stone was laid by ICICI.
Thank you, Gaurav. How does one pitch with the investors, right? From one of the top global funds of the world, right? I mean, these are great marquee investors. It's not also about capital, but also getting the right set of people on your cap table, right? And many of the entrepreneurs here in the room are in their early stages raising funds from investors. So maybe some kind of advice or how one should approach when they want to raise capital.
I think there is easy capital and then there is smart capital available out there. So there are a lot of people who are in the market to invest. And as entrepreneurs, when you go out there to raise funds, you will encounter people who realize the potential of your business and are willing to come into the picture. Our take on taking investments is we try to bring on board people that we look up to. So just to give you an example, first investor was QED Capital, which was basic operator. So basically they created a company. And after that, they started investing. Those were founders that we looked up to. So Nigel Morris, for example, we looked up to what they created and we were deep. And in fact, that turned out to be one of our best decisions because they continue to be great mentors in what we are trying to achieve. So from a capital perspective, that we look up to what they have been able to achieve in India. I mean, we are all well aware of after ICICI started, we looked up to that vision, and bringing on board someone like that allows us to keep ourselves grounded on, okay, but also lean on the right set of people, ask them questions which are the ones who will be telling you that, okay, you are being stupid here, or this is actually a good decision. Alongside the capital, that's how we look at it.
Oh, wonderful. I think so. The role of mentors is equally important. While both at one place, go for it. Right. That's the takeaway. So I think we have now 15 minutes left. To the entrepreneurs in the room, maybe, and then we'll open it up for questions. From. So Gaurav, what would you kind of advise to our aspiring entrepreneurs?
Sure. So I think for the folks who are still in college, I would recommend, unless you are on a historically, yes, you know that you're smart. The world has acknowledged you're smart. You can definitely go for it. But spend the first 2 years in a large company, so that when you start a startup, you know where you have to go, right? So that don't look at, and again, no offense, but don't look at fundraise as a milestone or as a कि boss ये तो करना ही है. Let's say basically I don't think Dhirubhai Ambani ever went to, like, you've not heard those stories, right? Or most of our let's say an Ashirwad pipes to the larger guys, you've never heard rather their stories कि okay ये बंदे ने इतना fundraise किया etc. It's a concept that got promulgated only in the last 15 years to fuel growth. So when you're out to raise money, you're doing it because you want to do what could have been done in 20 years in 5 years. So if you're okay with that, then only go out, because it does take a lot of strain on you. It takes time away from your core business. So focus on the business. Of course, you need capital, and depending upon the business model that you choose, you will need to pump in some money. First is you put in your own money. If you don't have, borrow some money. If you don't have that, beg for the money. And there's no shame in that. Again, one resounding thing, please be shameless. And when I say shameless, it doesn't mean that someone in the middle of the night. Have those moral boundaries, but shameless meaning that if someone has extended you an olive branch, or if you need someone's help, you just go talk out. That person in all likelihood is not going to see you again for the next 10 years, right? Or vice versa. So it's okay to take that kind of a risk, and but till the time.
Fantastic. Yeah. Be shameless. Capital is not the only benchmark. Great. Yeah. Apurva, coming to you. What are some of the pointers you would like to leave with the entrepreneurs?
I'll actually reiterate that one point. The amount of fundraise a company has done is no indicator of success at all. As to how successful they are, yes, it's obviously a token of appreciation that they help you success. It does allow you to move fast, but that is by no means an indicator of success. If you want to look at success, do look at the these have made. So how many people's lives have they changed? What kind of societal impact has it made? From a recommendation perspective, I think one thing I have seen a lot of young entrepreneurs entrepreneurs are very passionate about their ideas, but it is not a marriage. Please do realize that. You don't have to keep working on the same idea that you pick ends up becoming a blockbuster. And it's more, it's also being humble about the entire process. It's almost like you are not clear, you're not omniscient to realize, okay, this is the perfect idea which will work out. You have to be humble. It's always a process. To start up is that it allows you to discover so much about yourself. You struggle day and night and in a large and comfortable setup, and it will allow you to realize your weaknesses, that, oh, I could not handle this situation, or when I got a comic story, we were pitching to an investor to that meeting, and I was just out of I was a techie, right, through and through, and we don't tend to football jersey to a UK investor who is very, very passionate about that. There's the fact is to actually arrive at that conclusion that yes, I'm bad at this, and improve it, but go through that process on your ideas.
Wonderful. So to summarize, focus on value creation, don't get married to ideas, remain open for some of those, and I'm sure for the audience as well. So what we'll do is can we give mic to the young boy, Jay Chaudhary?
I also want to ask shamelessly one question.
Please, sir, go ahead.
I want to recruit them as our ISF the opportunity to ask relevant questions. They are here to help you. Please go ahead. Are there any? Yeah.
Skill development solutions, training solutions. So I think one question that sort of missed out here, I think, was competition, right? We are in a market, tech market, where billions of people get the same idea at the same time, right? So how did you go through that? There are people who say, hey, we have heard. How did you navigate through competition? How did that go? I just want to know that.
See, competition is going to be there. Luckily for us, when we started, absolutely at the start, but also delivering the maximum value. So, and I'm a more jugadu guy. So I used to ensure to keep revising my pricing. Okay, अगर X ₹5 में बेच रहा है, I used to ensure that my product comes out first. And obviously, one of the things was we kept innovating as well. We 3 महीने से live है. These clients are also live. So much is cost. अब बताओ क्या करना है. So on that call itself, the create those kind of FOMOs. See, you need to invest in a very when I say aggressive, it doesn't necessarily mean aggressive. You understand your own company, and your sales team is motivated. You should be able to fare, and obviously keep innovating.
I mean, see, we see so many players, right? They enter the same business, Tesla kind of built that electric car. It was not a new idea. Execution executes is not idea. Idea does, is important. But to my mind, more important is execution. List it on our websites. Sometimes, maybe you can go to ISF Bank website. We have all strategies which are listed. What we are doing, we'll be able to execute. So I think beyond a point, one is to move away, from the fascination of having, I have this great idea. What idea is on the game, you will win the game, right? That's how.
And I think what we have seen, in fact, that is such a pertinent question every time founders meet. And we were, in fact, immediately before this and what did the competitors do? We were just listing down our stories around it, right? And it will happen. It will happen 5, 8, 10 times. I think the only something around that, right? But do realize that there are humans on the other side as well. That they are coming with. So what you're executing on, if you're tired, they are tired. Continuing on that journey. So yes, you'll get tired as well. It's very easy to start giving up But that's what will end up pretty much deciding the winner. Smart founders, but I think the common element will be there. You can't get, I mean, even if you're tired, you can't give up.
Who in the panel are purely financial guys. So as an engineering leader, how do you price yourselves? So why 100 million is the target that you have set for yourselves? So that's the key aspect.
Yeah, part of, if you are in deep tech, for example, you could have purely completely tech-backed ecosystem where sales is one of the biggest criteria for success. I would highly recommend having the right co-founder. Going at it alone, startups is, from Refine's journey perspective, when we started Refine, we did not agree on we would work on, but the primary thing was to actually decide on the right co-founder. I and Chitresh could have worked being able to out there and raise funding. So I would highly recommend, please do invest time in finding the right co-founder. It's going to be probably...
Mic is not working or what? Yeah, please.
Typically, startup founders are not from the finance background, so it doesn't come very naturally for.
And what is the role of corporate governance and compliance given what has been happening in the startup ecosystem recently? And second is that especially for both the primary co-founders in my case were chartered accountants, so automatically that's all that being filed and so on and so forth, a little more than what we should have. However, where it worked for us was when there are certain remedial measures that you can do post facto, but it depends upon how the gravity of the situation. From a tech perspective,
of getting wrong. So something to the point that, okay, the vendor payouts which are going, are they following the right? You will probably have RBI having a small office in your norms. And if we continue at our trajectory, at some point will be a mid-layer and a large NBFC. And at that point, the norms will continue to change. And all those are for good reasons. But the governance is stronger intent rather than compliance.
And it's also about, what happens. Product, you want to build tech, you want to build team. And somewhere, compliance takes a back seat, right? Because that's not the priority. You are juggling, right? So I think the way we kind of, try to put it as a from day one. It's not something that you'll figure out 2 years later, 3 years later, and as founder, let me first focus on my business. These things are not important. We'll figure out later. I think that approach doesn't work, right? It has to be as a part of the culture from the
Entrepreneur and VC.
Can we take this offline if it's okay with you, because he has to catch a flight?
No problem.
Or you guys have been a wonderful audience, so one clap for all of you, and all the entrepreneurs in the room,
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. We are truly.
For startups point of view, in the entire ISF journey, this is the best session. Let me tell everybody, though I know Hitesh for the last so many years, he was helping me when I knew that he's having some role in ICICI Bank, helping some startups. Only to that extent I knew that Hitesh, we want to have a cut and raiser program in Bombay, but we don't have money. How do we do that? Sir, don't key people, all the great CXOs and so many multi-billion ISF cut and raiser. During that time, I actually saw the Viswarupam. He took me around his incubator. Then wherever I went and I was talking, the guidance what we were getting, always Hitesh is available, hand-holding, what is the problem, where do we require entering, hand-holding. I have not seen anywhere in the globe as far as the incubators and accelerators are concerned, no people like what we have witnessed. That's when I requested Hitesh, fireside chat with some of your entrepreneurs and readily agreed. I think, Hitesh, I am really thankful to you for going to leave you. Once you are connected, that Hitesh knows, right? Now, not only you have to help the startup companies, since you are already successful entrepreneurs, not only mentoring, maybe money also you have to give, and also find a market also for them. These 3 M's we keep telling: mentoring, money, and market. Those 3 M's you have to provide under his guidance, because Bombay market is very difficult for many startups, particularly all the banks are there, and I think a lot of fintech companies, they struggle to get into that ecosystem. That's where we have to take advantage of what Hitesh has created there. Thank you so much, Hitesh, for...
Sir, truly humbled, sir, truly humbled. And, I think all inspiration, sir.
So, as a famous saying in Hyderabad goes, startup loga se pange nakyo lo, bagan mein mila denge. So, a very fun, energetic session, and you only see the flashy headlines in the news, but the struggle they had gone through and the effort, the blood, sweat and tears they have put in, it's all an embodiment of a true story of resilience and a relentless pursuit in the startup space.
Mementos, sir, for a minute. Mementos. Okay. We are also using over a minute, over time. So, thank you ICICI Bank for your partnership with ISF. Because
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. It's all under your leadership, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
MC part was supposed to be done by Vishala Garu. Mothers are always mothers. So what she has done is she has given this opportunity to her son, Nachket, and then we are very happy to see how he is hosting. We are looking for to stage and then make this ISF successful. Congratulations, Vishala.
That is within 30 minutes of the training.
To the next session of Unicorns. Engineer became an entrepreneur, then she became everywhere. You look, multiple startups associated with T-Hub and many other organizations. Rumana Sinha Sehgal, very, very privileged to call her on dais. She's owning overall unicorn vertical for ISF. Because she has almost 25 years of experience. So Rumana, please, this is your baby, Unicorns, and everybody is waiting for it. Please come on to dais.
Thank you, Jyoti. That was very, very kind of you. Namaskar. And of course, I see some lovely young unicorns from the ISF. Can I have your hands up in the audience to welcome you to this round table, Unicorns. I shall open forum. Thank you, volunteers. I would like to invite all the speakers. Ladies, and of course our chair and the panelists. Shri Mahankali Srinivas Rao, MSR Garu, CEO T-Hub. A round of applause. Shri Shri Depu S. Nath, and Shri Krishnakant Bari, President and CEO, WB. Thank you very much, esteemed panel. I shall.
Hi. There. Volunteering me. You know, we talk about it. It's interesting. This afternoon, this morning I was at. I said, you people are doing all these new things in AI, etc., etc. What's your problem? These are single biggest. Sure that the young people who are coming up are capable of understanding all of this. And I said, I'm going there in the afternoon, and resources. I have a wealth of resources to start. So what I'm going to do is to try and break this up into 4 rough. To start by asking ourselves, we are talking about unicorns, but what is actually happening? Is anything happening? Is anybody doing anything about it? Then we'll go to the most important core part. Having education, is not enough. There's an enormous support ecosystem that is required, and we also have as a parent, how do you get kids involved into making sure that they actually follow? At one time, all that.
You want me to go ahead? Sure. Okay, so basically I thought of, he wants to start his own initiative, and he wants to be a founder for his own initiative. I asked him why did you ask me that question? So he saw my name as a founder for my own initiative, and he asked me that question. So I told him that you are too young to actually think about all. He asked me what are you doing with your used batteries? Used batteries, we all get used batteries, right? So in California, there was one lithium-ion battery caused a big damage, and the whole recycling plant got burnt. Even doing that, I asked him to actually talk to few of his friends, and I also took about 20 different friends of mine. So he spoke to all of them. Everyone said that. And now tell me what you want me. Where do you want me to help? So he said that I want a quick flyer. I have a team of 850 kids in US. All these kids are actually spreading awareness in their local schools, collecting the batteries. And over the past 5 years, they have recycled over 500 used batteries, and they have educated over 38 million people about the importance of used batteries. So it became a big initiative, a younger one as well. By seeing him, she was 9 years old. Last year, end of last year, she came. But you are not doing anything to me. So I said, I'll definitely help you. Why would I not help you? But you tell me, going for a shower, do you immediately start, or are you waiting for 1 to 2 minutes for the hot water to come? So I told, definitely I'll wait for 1 to 2 minutes for the hot water to come, because I don't want to, especially in US, every single person will actually wait for that hot water. 1 to 2. She showed me the stats that there are millions and millions of people in the world who don't have access to water, and we are actually wasting that 20,000 gallons of the shower, where the water will actually become instantly hot. I initially liked the idea, and we have actually a prototype. They came up with the prototype as well, but then again I was hesitant, because obviously you are linking electricity with water. Then I actually helped her research more, and we found a thing called recirculation pump. So what that recirculation pump do is it will actually extract the hot. There are two types of pipes in your house: hot water pipe and cold water pipe. So when the water in the hot water pipe becomes cold, it will actually extract the water. $50 is nothing, including installation. Probably it will cost $500. So now she has a team of 40 kids within a span of 9 days. So all the households, because like you are getting tax credits when you are buying. You are installing solar panels. She's requesting the government to give the tax credit when someone installs the world's largest pump manufacturing company. They came forward to support her. So those I'm just giving you the context, and then now I'll tell. Yeah, next. Go to the slides.
I promise everyone that I didn't tell them to stop the slide.
Next one.
You know,
It will be
Vamsi, you
quick.
are actually touching the hearts with your straight talk. So just go ahead.
Some issue with the slide. So basically, what the telling is, as a parent, what I normally do is I ask, observe, and you have to come back to me that there is a problem in your school, there is a problem in your house. Observe outside, come up with the problems, and then come up with the solutions as well. That way, and all that kind of a thing. So all I am trying to say today is that the kids are actually going out there and watching, and then whenever someone says something to you, when your kid says, irrespective of the age, that is exactly why the point I heard from one of the public encourage them rather than discouraging them. I initially discouraged, but later on I realized, and then I started encouraging them, and now I see done as well. So basically this is what I am telling. You have to ask the kids to actually come up with the problems, and like I said, both show them good books, give them good mentorship, show them good network. Like last time when I was in Hyderabad, Nihal came to Jay Garu, and he is the one who actually encouraged him a lot, and all the young kids have to participate in such kind of a network and such kind of an event. Even though they don't do anything, they learn, so you have to give them the lead. Go next.
Are you done?
No. Yeah, so they will.
So, you know, very often we look outside. We look outside of ourselves and say somebody else must do, government must be the kind of people we want them to be. Each one of us is responsible for making it. So now that's fine, you know, you live in the US, do some amazing work. There is another, okay, why don't you, Anil, I'll let you take over and tell us what work.
If we want our students to be entrepreneurs, is that the intent of our schools? And fundamentally, what is education and why is education? What we have made in education is basically mere literacy rather than you are literate, yes, but are you educated is the question. With right mindset. Intent is also focused on how do we do that? How do we create? So creating role models is very important. When we see in villages, a lot of people told care. And I always focus on unthinkable. Bhai, kyun nahi bana sakte hain? When we talk about city kids, we talk about entrepreneurship. When we talk about village, we talk about why they can't be entrepreneurs. Why only livelihoods? Basically, when I was a kid, I
have to go to Bhopal. My father was in CRPF. I got good education. But when I came back to my village, I saw these kind of challenges there. When I was in college, we made Asia's first student rocket. I went to the VC, told we want to make a rocket. He asked, "Hamare college mein we don't have aeronautical branch.
From which branch you are?" And he started laughing like anything. I told Kiar, engineering is mere common sense, and why just like these shameless guys, went to everyone, emailed to a lot, Raj, we build it there. 3 failures के बाद fourth one was a success. We finally launched it. Limca Book of World Record में we got the name. So when people told me कि तुम लोग यार किसी कॉलेज से तो हैं, गवर्नमेंट कॉलेज से हैं उड़ीसा के, कर तो सकते हैं यार, can do it, then why can't students in these villages can do it? Went to my village with a tin shed, some scholarship, started with 3 students and build over it. Eventually what happened in 2021, we told students, those who can build something, जो innovation में, उनके लिए वैसा क्या है? सबसे बड़ा चीज़ क्या है? We told कि NASA does, they build this rover, और इंडिया में से अंडर 19 टीम में कोई, there is no representation there. Can we build a rover? This was the second unthinkable. जो बच्चा वहाँ पे मड हाउस में रहता था, वो भी गया है वहाँ पे. They were a part of that team. That was unthinkable because at that point of time, हमारे पास these students went through the CAD designing, ideation, prototype किया, build the rover, took it to NASA. आप यकीन नहीं करेंगे, हम सिर्फ पार्टिसिपेट नहीं करने गए थे वहाँ पे, जीत के आए हैं, वर्ल्ड रैंक 3 मॉडल्स क्रिएट हो गए. नाउ इफ यू गो टू दीज विलेजेस, द स्टूडेंट्स आर लाइक, वो तो कर रहा था, मैं तो उसके घर पे गया था. वो कंटेंट का, कंटेंट में फर्स्ट थिंग इज, इफ यू हैव रेड द स्टोरीज, पुअर फार्मर इन अ विलेज, व्हाट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ दैट? इफ यू आर पुअर, यू आर ए फार्मर. एंड इफ यू आर ए फार्मर, तो विलेज में रहोगे मतलब पुअर हो और फार्मर हो आप. तो यूएस वाला जो फार्मर है, is something we have to change. So change the narration is very important in our books. Go out, that's in the mindset, no one will stay, everyone will go to US. The right intent, we can create the right content. We have a vehicle here, I invite you to come there and see, ₹1 ka product, you can give it to everyone. How do we provide the right content to student? And third one is environment. So pehla cheez is, when you go to schools, I've seen schools everywhere in India, government schools if you go, they sit, there are students, those who, they won't do good. We need to create that infrastructure. In India, 95% of the school don't have STEM labs. Na kahan dekhega wo? What they see, they do. And what they do, they become. Vehicle which is known as TOW, Tinker on Wheels. So what it does is, instead of having a every school, it's a 250 rupees model for teaching every student. We just have to invest around 250 rupees and 10 lakh students. If 1% student become innovators, that is 10,000 students. Or 0.1% matlab dream of. And I would like to thank Jay Chaudhary sir. Jay sir he called me 5 days before, told Anil, wo jo event was in Andhra Pradesh, that we want to do it here. Can you bring the TOW vehicle to us? So I was like, acha theek hai, we'll bring from Bhubaneswar. What do we do? That night I thought I'll go to Hyderabad. Next morning, sir, we bought a vehicle. 4 days I was here. In 4 days, ने बोला कि यार ये तो नया unthinkable है. That's a challenge. We have to do it. We partnered with ISF, build that vehicle here. The vehicle is live now here. So thank you so much, everyone. So जो ICE का जो pedagogy मैंने बोला, we have created very good content where we have this conceptual learning of science, conceptual learning of STEM. Then there is a tinker phase, maker phase, innovator phase, and an entrepreneur phase. So, Unicorns, there are a lot of students there, also from Young Tinker Foundation. Would love if you can go there and talk to students. We have 2 centers in Hyderabad. One is in Touch Orphanage in Mehboob Nagar, where students have built their startup. We basically fund them with a seed grant of 1,000 rupees. And we ask them to build a business around it. You can go and see their products. Today, someone gave them the currency of Kuwait, brought bags, so they were showing me कि sir मैंने आज इतना कमा लिया है. So businesses जो है, if you want to make them entrepreneur, don't teach them entrepreneurship. Ask them to build businesses. If you want to teach them problem solving, give them a problem. They will find out a solution for it. Rishi was here. I invited him because he created AI solution to predict pest attack. It actually happens. So he was from Jagatsinghpur district in Bhubaneswar, in Odisha, and he saw pest attack in his village, and because of which he saw suicides. So his problem statement was, isko solve karna hai. He created AI solution which predicts 10 days before it actually happens. He was invited by the Intel CEO Pat Gelsinger, went there, got funded for his startup. And he was like, sir, US chala gaya main. So what I'm trying to say is, 2017 में भी मैं ये चीज़ आपको बोल रहा था, आप बोलते पागल है. आज भी आप बोल सकते हैं मैं पागल हूँ. But yes, I was able to build more pagals like me. Thank you so much, everyone.
Phenomenal, phenomenal. So, so this is where we wanted to start, that we are not talking theory. We are talking of what is actually happening on the ground. You read the newspapers, you get depressed with the negativity. When you meet real people, that's when you know the enormous power of optimism in our youth today. So what I'm going to do now is to shift from there to how do we make that happen in our entire education system. I'll start with you, Renuji, then go to you, Shashiji, and then to my good friend Sita. So three of you will essentially focus on education and what we need to do.
Good evening. I have done considerable work in terms of policy. And it's a very dry subject, especially education policy is not a child's play, and it has been a long journey for me. With this NEP, that what we have today, it's 2017 onwards, we started engaging with the policy panel, right from Smriti Irani time. We've done something very unique. And today, we are looking at a product called Reading Comprehension Assessment. I'm sure all of you are familiar reading in the newspapers. The 10th class child cannot read third class text. This is something, it was something that I thought we should be able to solve it. The way I looked at it is, if we start early, that is a right start to school, and move it up. And moving up in the process is, our work first started with Anganwadis. There was the seed for how can we teach 2 languages. In fact, we taught only 1 language, and I observed the children were doing 2 languages. So the today's product that we're going to be, when we are launching, I see English, Telugu, Hindi, we teach are equal, on an equal footing. So that is the kind of a goal, and also work towards 100% literacy in this country. That is one major initiative that we have undertaken. The other one is structured assessment. From next year onwards, government is on ensuring that 5th class and 8th class students meet certain targets. So therefore, we don't have to listen to problems earlier saying that, 3rd class competency is not there in the 10th class. Now, having this 3rd, 5th, 8th, we have never done this before. the school used to engaging at such young age. Above all this, there is another kicker the government threw, saying that we want each child to perform 60 words per minute with understanding. And we worked and showed our work way back when Anita Kaul was in the seat. And at that time, they have adopted, Government of India has adopted certain inputs from both Norway and Singapore. Our children start school at 6. That's when I have written to her saying that what standard that you have applied doesn't apply in India because you'll have litigation. The child should be 9 plus to have the literacy standard the Government of India has developed. But for the first time in this country's history, something good and positive is happening. We have a good policy, and there's a lot of scope for work around here. Can you shift the slides, please? 8th class. When we start implementing that, you will see a crop of students who are far more competent. And this competency will take India for the country. So you can't achieve certain height. And 100% literacy in the country should be made possible. Not necessarily teach English, but also teach Telugu and Hindi with an equal rigor and relevance. Because both the languages makes the child more resilient. Okay, next slide, please. And there's one thing that I advocate strongly is using unseen text to teach and reading. Seen text is absolutely false, and I speak against it. You know, this is something that is not a reading assessment and reporting, that you have shortchanged the child. You have to put unseen text, and the child should navigate it and produce the result. Then we can actually to go to the level of perfection and proficiency the child can achieve. Last 3 years, especially in 9 and 10, 11 and 12, have fallen down, especially in science and maths. This is because case-based and reasoning assertion questions are introduced. Now, I relate very much to what the parent perspective and the young tinker's perspective, because these case-based questions and reasoning assertion questions. So therefore, teachers don't know how to teach, students don't know how to really major challenge in the school systems in the CBSE. And I'm sure this is similar statements. And as long as we don't teach kids these kind of things, it will be difficult. The next slide.
Madam, actually we have another program where the awards or program is there. I request all the panelists to restrict your discussion around how do we make kids to think like an entrepreneur, act like an entrepreneur, and become an entrepreneur. Let's not get into any educational reforms. That's a much bigger subject. So this is Unicorns is only about the entrepreneurship. All the chief guests and other people are likely to come. So I request all of you to restrict to that area, not to the educational reforms, NEP and all that, because that's not the intended.
And now we need a lot of products that are aligned to implementation to improve quality and efficiency. And this, the context of investment, improve quality and report rather than frivolous expenditure in terms of So this is where the kicker is. The kicker line inputs to young people and the stakeholders of education.
Hello, everyone. So what I want to say actually kind of piggybacks on what Anil said and what Vamsi said. So I'm into content, and I'm working on creating curriculum for grades K to 10 in AI/ML, nanotechnology that are coming up now, and everybody wants to know about it. So when I was asked to do that, and how should they be learning this? So I've been like trying to curriculum where it is more student run, where I'm empowering the student to actually run the curriculum by themselves, help the students. But before that, as I was writing that, I realized there's something that is far more important than that situation and that power to think that, yes, I can do this. I can be, one of these, to have that power, to have that dream. So for that, I feel like they need to have that life skills training to be able to think. Can we learn from nature? Can we go out and see what problems are there and what can we solve from that? So that is what I have been, go hand in hand with each other learning. So that is like my bridge to both, and which I feel like the juniors and what I could bring to Junicon, that I think is the most important, like having this.
Thank you.
Okay, so I think I'll take you back to a little history of entrepreneurial education in India. This I was reading while I was reading a research journal by a professor from Castle. He wrote a book called The Beautiful Tree. Beautiful trees are schools that exist. And every school, every village appointed the wise man of the village as a headmaster, and all the elders of the village would get together and decide the curriculum should be to promote the environment, the ecology, the culture, the social structure, and the economy. So the curriculum had back then. But when colonialism happened, all of us know the story. After that, schools were hijacked for a different purpose altogether. And we still that white man's burden on our shoulders of industrialized of education. So what is it that I am doing? I have to tell you, like how I would also like to say intention specificity, intention implementation. So I always look at what is my circle of influence, what is my circle of concern. I know education system, I can't change it. I'm not at a policy level. But there is something that I can change within the influence that I operate in, within my schools, with all the 7,000-8,000 students that I have. So what I looked at is, can I revamp the curriculum where learn how to be value-oriented? Can the children learn how to promote the sustainability, whether they're learning in science or the social studies? For me, social studies are all about sacred geography. To learning anything like you have copper there, you iron there, dig it and use it, that's a consumerist approach. So can we that these are the resources we have? Can we make something out of these resources while focusing on the sustainability? What can schools do to build an entrepreneurial environment? To be honest, from the time I came here, I only see an inspiration. But you go into any school, this is not what you will find. There's an ecosystem of examination there. And there is an ecosystem of burden there. Till T-Hub and T-Work started in our city here, I used to always take the example of the Prime Minister of Singapore calls for a meeting every 2 to 3 years with school principals and university heads to tell them what is it that we are bringing into the country in the next 5 years, what courses can you customize so that the people who come out for the changed scenario. And I used to, when Telangana was born, I wrote a letter to the Chief Minister, by the way. Of course, people like us never get heard, so that was also not heard. But still, when T-Hub came, I thought, wow, the mountain has come to the Muhammad now. When T-Works came, the mountain has come to the Muhammad now. So we are able to give exposure to our students that beyond the templates of JEE and NEET, there is a life out there. There's a promise out there that through the fireside chat gave me a promise that I probably have to work on a curriculum that teaches children rise like a phoenix, like how they said, be shameless, go pursue. You will fail, but you still have to come up with a better idea. I think I need to add that also. One thing I have to say, and I'll conclude on that. 2 of my students are sitting here. One of them is actually showcasing something here. Wave your hand. Okay. And one of them is a volunteer here. 10 of them are presenting their innovative ideas in the Junicons, thanks to Rumana, who's been mentoring them. But I think the time has come for everybody to talk more about startups, entrepreneurs, so that we groom contributors to the society, not just consumers. And I'd like to end with that.
Thank you. In some ways, what you're also demonstrating is that educators themselves have become entrepreneurs. And coming out, within the system, we can either be bureaucrats and say, my hands are tied, or we can be entrepreneurs within that system and say, what more can I do? One in Gaudium School, MSR, of course, has been the key driver in T-Hub, so we'll ask him all this. Things outside the curriculum. What is it needed to support the curriculum? In the earlier session, we talked about money, those things, and how can we make those available across, for the moment, if we talk across the state, and then we can take it. If I to start with, one school in at least each assembly district, so working with YHub, TSIC, T-Works, etc., to actually set up capability. Infrastructure. In India, we tend to focus on infrastructure. What I want is, what is the intellectual infrastructure?
Middle, because 25 years of my experience has been on IT side, and now on my entrepreneurial journey, and one of the school. I've joined a school which has been already established. For last 3.5 years, I've been speaking to a lot of my colleagues wanted to train us, how do we actually manage Gen Z at workplace? I'm sure you have a lot of strategies to do that, which is coming in from about their, I would say, addiction to these digital devices or the smart devices. And nowadays, I don't think schools are actually doing that. Probably because it's again the social fabric that we have in India, wherein we always been saying that software engineers, because I'm from that industry, I see all the parents all the while working on some laptop seen by them. If you take in earlier days, if someone is being a kind of a painter or whatever, skill that you... It's an opportunity now in the era of AI, wherein students can to identify their interests and identify opportunities that comes as entrepreneurs. It's all about bringing the entrepreneurship and ask the students to open up their questions. PhD students to mentor some of the ideas the students are coming up with. The response from, these young students, we thought we would actually take a step back and see what type of environment is required or what type of...
Like me to talk about.
Getting them to maybe TRL level 3, 4, at least proof of concept, which what is it? But how?
First build on some points which I think Vamshi made and Anil made and all. Curiosity, critical thinking, creative thinking, collab. So many of them to improve their rankings and not necessarily from program. We are currently running it at about 7 or 8 colleges, where what we are doing is either figuring out whether to go to the US or whatever, or get into a job. Right? So this is the window, the environment around them, and see if there are problems that can be solved, sort of thing. 10 of them, typically in every college, come up with some kind of a viable prototype, sort of thing, and then that becomes UN SDG goals. Okay, and I kid you not, them being able to answer what the SDG goals are, right? So sometimes it causes me to colleges here, and so that's one challenge. Now coming back, what I think needs to be done, worked in about 750 government schools, what they did, right, and then they said go out and build something, right? And the sense of this at the college level, we haven't yet gone down into the school level, is to figure out how we can create, you can spend of profits you can spend on CSR. A lot of that effort has been directed towards education, healthcare, and so on.